beautiful souls. This is Valeria Maritza here at Healing Through You. I am an infinite being of light, and so are you. Happy Valentine's Day! Today is that day. Valentine's Day. Many people love it, some people dread it. I'm here to tell you love yourself first. That is the first message. Love starts with you, yourself, your inner being, coming into complete oneness with you, and then you can be open to receiving and giving fully from your full being, integrated being, onto another being. Today's episode is not about Valentine's Day, it is about healing. And so I wanted to talk to you today about what healing is. If we are healers or we are seeking healing from other healers and things like that, how much healing is enough? Or how much is too little? Or how much is too much? Is there such thing as too much healing? My guides say yes. And what they are referring to is too much healing at once, at one time, together in conjunction with one another. So this has come into my awareness when I first started down this rabbit hole of going down the path and discovering all kinds of healing modalities. I was actually in shock at the immensity and the complete variety of different things that you can receive energetic healing from different people doing and transmitting different types of energies. It was completely unknown to me. And once I started going down that rabbit hole, I was also in shock at the cost, right? So a lot of them, you can get things from like $20 all the way up to several $100s. And if you join somebody in that container, like a long time container where you get healings weekly or bi-weeklies or monthly or whatever that is, you can be paying into the thousands. And when I first started into this path, I had no idea about any of this. And I was really, really in shock. My system was in shock because I had never heard about it. Now, I had always been attracted to different healers and psychics and mediums, and I had paid between, I would say, no less than 100 per session, and all the way up to about 350 a session. This is all before my full awakening and my full embodying of who I am now. So I knew about certain things like that and how much they would cost and how much I was willing to pay and things like that. And I would usually go for one session, one psychic session, one mediumship session for an hour. I think it was like 300 and something, where the medium would connect with my past loved ones and I was able to have these conversations with them. And it was just so incredibly nourishing and satisfying to have that. And then that was it. And I didn't see this as a healing. I saw this as a great opportunity to tap into something else that was out there that I didn't know about. But once I started going down the rabbit hole of healing and I started working with someone, I realized that there was more to uncover, more to see. And while I was working with one person at the time, I would get the guidance, I would get the healings, I would do it. And then I would, after that part would integrate, I will move on to the next step and so on and so forth. That's the way it went. And this is really how my whole awakening came about, of me being able to embody the true full me with all my gifts that I had been born with and I had been denying all of my life. So the question was, is there such a thing as having or receiving too much healing? And my guides again said yes, if you do it all at once. And what that means is, if you are receiving a specific type of healing, such as, let's say you're having an energy healing, and the healer tells you you need 2 or 3 days to integrate this, or a week, depending on what it is for you, right? And then you go on that night, you do a different healing. You do maybe an Akashic Records healings where you do a journey, or maybe you do light language, or maybe you do a different energy healing, or whatever it is. This is not talking about meditation. This is just an actual energy healing on your body. What happens is that those 2 things or 3 things can interfere with each other. And the way that my guys showed this to me is like, let's say you scrape your knee. Okay, you clean it, maybe some alcohol, maybe some peroxide, and then maybe you put some neosporin on it and a band-aid. Okay, so that's your healing for the wound that you had. Somebody comes and say, hey, you know what? Aloe vera is really good for that. That's really good. And you're like, yeah, you're right. So I'm gonna take some aloe vera. I'm gonna remove this band-aid. I'm gonna maybe clean the wound from that neosporin, or maybe I'll put some aloe vera on top of that. Which one should I do? I don't know. I'll just put it on top. Okay, I'll put it on top. Do you really think that that's going to be beneficial? Right? And then let's say somebody else comes and say, hey, you know what? If you take this or if you apply that, that's really good for scrape skin. And then you slap that on top of it. What's happening is that the additional healing things that you're adding to your skin are either not having any effect or minimal, or they may have minimal effect because you're putting them on top. And if you're cleaning the stuff you put on first to apply this, what you're doing is you're actually removing some of the healing, right? Because like, let's say your skin starts to begin to make that crust, right? When your skin is starting to form again and heal, when you clean it, you remove that layer. So now it's raw again. And now you put the other type of healing on top. Okay, that's good. And then your skin starts to renew itself and begin to create that crust again. So this is what they showed me when I asked this question, or when this question came into my awareness to speak to you about today. When you do not allow enough time to integrate fully, and you're constantly doing more and more things, none of them really have the deep effect that they could have. You're constantly removing one to put in another. And it is important to allow the time for your body to integrate the healings before adding something else, or removing some of this so that you can add something else. Does that make sense? So in terms of how much healing is enough, you need to be sure that when you're working and doing things, that you are not interfering with one thing or the other, because then what is the point? And this is their words, not mine. What is the point of piling things on top of each other if you're not allowing any of them to actually do the work? This is coming straight from them, from my guides. So let that sit with you for a little bit. Let's see how that sinks in and how that feels for you, right? And the other thing that they're telling me is meditation is not considered part of the healing talk that I'm having. So they're really encouraging you to check in with yourself and do your meditations daily, because when you meditate, you are essentially going within. You're going within, you're calming your mind, and you are receiving the messages from yourself and becoming more and more connected with your own oneness. If you're going to do your own Akashic Records healing, if you're doing to do your own light language healing, your own energy healing, that's different than meditating. Meditating is basically being still, being in the moment so that you can receive, integrate, and connect doing an active healing on yourself or with somebody else. That's what I'm talking about having too many at once or one on top of the other. So the message here is, when you start going down the rabbit hole of healing, energy healings, and all of this type of woo-woo, as many people call it, be aware that there needs to be a pace. And sometimes we get so excited, like a kid in a candy store, right? I want all the candy. I want this, I want this, I want that. But then you cannot eat all of that without getting sick, right? You have to wait some time before your body is able to process all that sugar and you can have some more, right? And sometimes when we're really disconnected, our body says, hey, you know what? I'm still hungry. Let me have some more of that sugar. And you have it anyway. And then you feel sick right away. And then you're still hungry and you want more and you feel sick right away. But you're not making that connection that that hunger does not equal eat the candy, right? I don't know why this is coming into my awareness to speak to you about right now as a modality. It must be making sense to some of you. But that is the part about having too much healing at one time. Allow your body to receive and integrate fully before moving on to the next modality, to the next session, to the next part. Without counting the meditation, because my guys keep telling me the meditation part is a must right now, especially in this time, so that you can really connect with yourself and receive those messages that you are receiving from your higher self, from God, from Source, from whomever it is that you work with. On the other side of the spectrum, how much healing is too little? So, as I shared with you before my awakening, and I was going to see somebody once every year or maybe every other year, I would splurge on myself, spending between $100 to $350 on one session with one particular healer, many of whom had a year wait list to just get in there or close to it. And I would do that. And I would spend it, and it would be like something that I would look forward to, and I would have it. And again, I was not aware that those were actually healing sessions. The healing being in the comfort and love and answers that you receive when you have a type of session that has to do with mediumship, especially, right? You have so much healing when that happens. I didn't know that that's what it was. This is why I felt so good, and this is why I kept wanting to have them year after year and wanting to shove this type of healing sessions on everybody I knew about, because it made me feel so good. I wanted everyone to feel that. I didn't realize back then either that not everyone was ready or open to this type of stuff. So I have people that will completely shun me away because they're scared of that. I understand now. I did not understand this before, right? This is not for everybody. Actually, it is for everybody, but not everybody is ready at the same time. Okay, so how little healing is too little? Once you are waking up or awoken, and you are feeling this sense inside that there's something more, something bigger for you, and you start going down that path, that rabbit hole of discovering what else is there and what else you can do and how much healing you can receive and all of that stuff. Once that happens, it's imperative that you do healing constantly. And constantly means at least once a month. So something at least once a month when you are expanding your awareness, you're expanding what you know, your connection, and you're receiving the healing making you feel at ease, loved, nice, right? All of those really nice feelings. And at the same time, if you're working with your shadow, I did a shadow podcast the other day, which is when stuff starts to come up, right? Childhood traumas, things that we keep repeating, all of that stuff, and that starts to show up in your face. It starts to show up for clearing. Once you're awoken and you're aware that there are more things and more types of healings that you ever imagined there could be, when your shadow starts to come up, it comes up for healing. And if that's happening, then you really want to address it. So at least once a month is what they're saying, once that starts. Now, if you haven't gone through this awakening yet and you're just like listening and trying to figure out what does that even mean, is that even for me, is that really true, right? So for that, they're saying meditate, sit with yourself, sit in silence, sit and just listen to the silence, be in the moment, breathe and concentrate or put your attention and intention on your breath, right? So once you are breathing and you're counting, let's say 4 counts in and 4 counts out, right? And you're like counting this and concentrating on that. What's happening is that you are bringing all of your attention and your energy in that moment. And when you're bringing all of your attention and energy to that moment, your mind has to stop doing the monkey business. The monkey business is when you're like saying, oh, I think I need to go to the bathroom, or maybe I'm hungry, or maybe, did I turn off the stove and I need to pick up my child's. That's the monkey brain, right? The one that starts going and giving you all kinds of different statements to distract you, which right now, many people are addicted to having that monkey brain going because of the social media and all of the electronics that we're always using, right? You can see this with the young people. And when I say young people, I'm talking about the 20-year-olds and below, who cannot lift their faces off their phones, their cell phones, right? Or when they feel very unsafe and insecure and anxious, to look at someone in the face or in their eyes to have a conversation because they're so used to being in their own automated space of them and the screen, right? So, okay, getting off subject again. So, if you are not understanding what all of this is about awakening and stuff, my guys are saying meditate, go within, go within. Once you start receiving more and more of these feelings of what else is there? Is this it? Am I all alone? I'm hearing and seeing and feeling all of these things, excuse me. um, Signs of awareness and awakenings that people are going through at this moment and are not sure what to do, that's your cue to look for help, to look for more assistance, and to look for someone who can help you on your healing journey. Okay, so journaling, not journaling, going through a journey, going through your journey of awakening, it's not easy all the time, right? It feels like, oh, this should be fun. No, it's not. It's lonely. It's scary. It's like, what's going on? Where is this taking me? It's really unknown. But it is the path of discovery and remembrance of who you truly are. So if you're lucky enough to come across someone who can guide you and lead you on to your own awakening and your own path of remembering who you truly are, and remembering what you're really made out of, and then really remembering why you came here in the first place. And what I mean by came here is come here in this world, reincarnating into this time, this moment in time in this world. Then once you remember that, then everything really starts to flow nicely for you. Now my guys are telling me to go back to the healing. Once you start going down that rabbit hole, and you start receiving healing and doing the work on yourself, whether it's by yourself or with help, stick to one thing at a time. Make sure things are not overlapping with each other. And here's the other part. Your healing never ends. It's like learning never ends. You know, when you go to school and you get a degree, you're like, done, now I can work. And you know, when you start going to work, they're like, oh, you need to go to this workshop and get yourself updated, right? Lawyers do that, doctors do that, teachers do that, right? Everybody does that in their field. You need to update, upgrade, learn a little bit more each year so that you can stay current. So it's the same thing in healing. Once you have your awakening, once you've gone through your journey, once you continue doing this stuff, what happens is that the more you know, the more there is to know. The more doors that open for you, the more doors that are available for you and are shown to you, and the more places that you want to go. So think about this as a branch on a tree. You begin down this really thick tree trunk, and maybe it has two big splitting branches, right? The road. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? And you choose one, and then you start seeing other branches, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that existed. Oh, I didn't know that was there. And then each branch continues to split into two, continues to, and it's infinite. And so you continue going this through this path, discovering new things about you, remembering new things about you, and then your awareness is so expansive, so huge, that there's just no end. And the things that you might become aware of or want to explore or learn about a year from now were things that you wouldn't even have entertained the past year. They weren't even in your awareness, right? Or you would have laughed about it. Oh my gosh, I remember the first time I heard somebody talk about fairies, and I completely out loud started laughing. Okay, that's too much, really, like that's fake, right? That's exactly what I thought, what I felt. I laughed. Then, after I had acknowledged it, right? I acknowledged, yeah, right, fairies, could that be true? Okay, don't laugh at me, people, okay? Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm just telling you how that felt for me. Sorry, that was my phone. um, when that happens, then I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, the fairies, yes. So once the fairies came into my awareness and I laughed about it and I thought the person was, cuckoo, um, I couldn't let it go. It continued to stay in my awareness. And then from there, what happened is that I had to decide to either look more into it, read about it, and I did. The universe started showing me different ways of looking and learning about stories of people who had seen fairies and or work with them and all of this stuff. And then what happened is like I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's true. Just like other things that are true that I didn't think they were true. But it's still too weird for me. So even though that's true, I'm not gonna go and work with them or engage in that. Like that's what I felt. And even now, that's not something that I tap into purposely, even though they keep tapping into me. It's not something that I look uh, forward to on purpose. If it appears, it appears, and I welcome it. And very lightly I laugh about it, but I'm no longer denying it. And this is the way the journey works. This is the way it goes. Okay, I think I got off the little top of the topic a little bit again. This is what happens when I start channeling things and just feeling into which way the energies are taking me. I hope this was helpful to you. If you're a healer and you're doing work on yourself, please give yourself the space and time to integrate your healings before you add something else. And my guys have they're the ones who told me about this too, that I needed to talk about this today. They're really, really strongly suggesting that you follow along, because once we start going down the rabbit hole and we're learning so much and things start to speed up, we want results to be instant, and in many cases they are. But if you know, or if your guides or the healer who's working with you is telling you you need this much time, a week to integrate, a day to whatever it is they're telling you, right? Follow that. Because when you don't, and you're like doing all these other healings in between, what you're doing is you're either stopping the progress from integrating within your three-dimensional heavy body, because that's what the whole integration is all about. It's about the energetic healing to be able to integrate on your physical, dense body. That's the key, right? The energy healing happens, but you're living in a three-dimensional body. This is why you need the time. This is why you need the time to integrate and to stop other things. It's not that it doesn't work fast. It's not that that it can be like too much for our own good. It's that your physical body needs time and space to integrate. Okay, I'm glad that that message finally spat out of my mouth and I was able to communicate with you why my guys wanted me to talk with you about this. And now that it's out, I am signing off. Thank you so much for being here. Again, happy Valentine's Day. Love yourself first. I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.